Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you're welcome back to the second plenary session of the Arua Center of Excellence for Unemployment and Skill Development, second international conference in Cape Town. I do hope that you all enjoyed your lunch. For sure, I know some of us were able to take our lunch together physically, but we still ensure that we observe COVID-19. I know some of you took your lunch in your kitchen. Apologies, I know by next year, God's willing, in Kenya, we believe that COVID-19 will have abated and we can all be together. I want to thank every one of us for the first session this morning that was delivered by Professor Dimi Doreska, as well as all the vice chancellors that spoke to us this morning, and the Secretary General of Arua through Dr. Emmanuel. I think it's been a very beautiful and wonderful moment today, being the day one of this conference. We're moving into the second session now without wasting any time. We should be having, joining us from University of Iowa too, Professor Azeez Butali. And I believe that the folks in South Africa are ready for us. So I will call on Professor Windako to please, if you're there to read the citation of the guest speaker, that is Professor Azeez Butali. I don't know if you can, are they on now? Can I see their screen? Okay, maybe we have to read from here very quickly the citation of our guest lecturer today. Are they on? They're not yet on. Okay, we've told our colleague that we're going to stay true to our timing. So you can chat with them, let them come on from South Africa. But let me read from here the profile of Professor Azeez Butali, who is a professor at the College of Dentistry, University of Iowa. He graduated as a dentist from the College of Medicine, the University of Lagos in 2000, and obtained his PhD in genetics epidemiology in 2010, before proceeding for his doctoral training in craniofacial genetics at the University of Iowa. In 2016, he obtained a certificate in genetics and genomics at Stanford University. He currently serves as PI of the Butali Laboratory, Director African Craniofacial Anomalies Network, Director College of Dentistry Biorepository, University of Iowa, and Director Massive Open Online Course for topics in human genetics. His lab discovered ctNNA2 and SORT2A as cleft palate candidate genes. He is a reviewer for 25 international peer-reviewed journal, NIH, Genetics of Human Disease Study Section, National Science Foundation of Poland, Swiss National Science Foundation, Wellcome Trust, and South Africa National Research Foundation, NRF. Professor Butali has received many national and international awards. These awards include being named as a recipient of Dental Scientist Career Development Award, K99R00, by the NIDCR NIH in 2012, and the first dentist to receive the Harold Amos Scholar Award, which was exclusively for medical doctors for 25 years. He is the co-founder of Help My Pikin, a non-profit that helps to prevent infant and neonatal mortality in Nigeria. Founder of Azeez Butali Foundation that supports widows and orphans in Nigeria. He is a member of the Smile Train Research and Innovation Advisory Council, member nominating committee of the American Society of Human Genetics. He sits on the board of Suicide Research and Prevention in Nigeria, SOPRIN, and Omosighe STEM in Nigeria. He is a member of the American Association for Dental Research, International Association for Dental Research, American Society for Human Genetics, American Academy of Science, and the American Cleft Palate Association. He is also a fellow of the International College of Dentists. He's passionate about entrepreneurship and currently supporting several startups in agro-media and energy, as well as small businesses in Nigeria. Finally, he is happily married with 3 children and enjoys reading, playing football, and table tennis. I present to you to take us for the second plenary session for this ongoing conference in Cape Town with the title, The Aggressive, Innovative, Technological Drive Capable of Redefining Youth Employment in Africa, Whose Responsibility? Professor Azeez Butali. Can we put our hands together as we welcome Professor Azeez Butali? Over to you, Prof.
Thank you very much, Professor Azeez. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. And thanks to the audience for having me, to the organizing committee for inviting me. I guess after listening to my little bio, some people will be wondering, what is a dentist, a geneticist doing in this forum, talking about technological drive, entrepreneurship, and youth employment in Africa? Well, I would say for a fact that I'm not just going to talk about it. I've actually lived it as an entrepreneur myself with my first startup in Nigeria in 2004, just before I left Nigeria. I had my own startup, which was to recruit doctors and nurses for hospital. And that's how we started. Before we knew it, we were selling hospitals. So I have actually put my hands in the entrepreneurship realm at that level. And since then up until now, I have also had about 3 startups that are doing very well and being supported and led by youths within Africa. I've also helped several young African entrepreneurs to get seed investment into starting their businesses. And I'm going to highlight one of them in my presentation. So those are the, the experiences that gives me the opportunity to be able to share with you this morning and to be able to talk about this topic in question. Whose responsibility? Before I go into that, we talked about innovative technological drive. So I'm going to spend the first few slides showing the innovative technological drive that are currently existing in Africa, where Africa is heading, where things that are already happening on the continent. And those things begin with ideation, the processes, the creativity, vision, growth, inspiration, and development. These are all the things that an African youth, if they possess them, then we're in good shape. And it's not just going to be focused on just Nigeria or South Africa or Kenya. That's why I put a map of Africa here, that whatever reflects in Nigeria or starts from Nigeria or South Africa should go across the entire continent. So in the next 15 slides or so, I've tried to make it short but intense so that we can all think about this, because my presentation is more of a challenge that these things are possible, and then we can then discuss further. Think about one way to think about the drive itself is, let's think about the co-creation hubs in Africa. This is a new phenomenon that I think started less than 10 years ago. And the fact that they are present, one in Nigeria, another one in Kenya, and a few others in other African countries, is beginning to create a location for youths with ideas. You don't have to be a computer scientist to work in the hub. All you need to do is, you could be someone with an idea of how to solve a problem, and you come to the hub to talk to people that can turn that idea into in technological innovation. So these hubs have done tremendously well. And when you use the word drive, I think we should consider them as the drivers of technology within Africa. So I've here in this slide, I've shown the co-creation hub in Nigeria, in Yaba, and that has led to what they call the Silicon Yaba, the new hub for technological startup companies in Nigeria, and the other one in Kenya. And these hubs have not stayed by themselves. They've started to go into other African countries, and the one in Nigeria has gone to a stage where they have seed money and they've gotten a lot of investment that they've started launching in places like Kigali in Rwanda, and even acquiring the hub in Kenya. So that tells you that there are opportunities for growth within the African continent, where these hubs will then stimulate different ideas to be brought and then innovations to be generated from there. And I bet to quote this interesting young tech reporter, Yomi Kazim. I follow him a lot on the internet. And Yomi Kazim succinctly used this statement. He said the impact of these hubs are going to be on the communities. Take Silicon Yaba, for example. It has changed the landscape of Yaba. The amount of innovation coming from Silicon Yaba, the employment, youth employment, engagement, solutions that have been taken from there, the investment coming from abroad, you cannot even imagine it. The proximity to the University of Lagos, the economy of Lagos. So it's having a big, huge impact on the community itself. It's also helping business to start up business to go from there. I can mention several that I know of that have started from Silicon Yaba, from these co-creation hubs. And this will continue to fuel innovation on the continent, since they are spreading to Rwanda, buying off hubs in Kenya, expanding those hubs. So you cannot talk about a drive without talking about the hubs. And if you look at the figure here, you can see how many hubs are there already in Nigeria, 85. Even in Tanzania, you have 17. And this will continue to grow over time. So because of the hubs are present, and like I said, startups are beginning to emerge from the support from these hubs, where people bring ideas, get supported by the hubs, and then get startup. And the data is obvious to see. This figure here is from the Boston Consulting Group, and this was a report in 2021. But what I want you to pay attention to is the growth from 2015 to 2020. You see that in Africa, the growth of a new startup, the possibility of having a new startup in Africa is 6 times compared to global data, which tells you that there are possibilities, there are potentials of getting new startups. And when you have new startups, you need people to work for you. So the African youth is readily available to work, but those jobs are not going to be gifted to them. They have to earn it. And we're going to talk about that when we talk about the responsibility. So why I'm sharing this is to let you know that there will be jobs as more startups become established, but who is going to fill in those jobs? And I'm going to show you data, and I'll narrow down to one of the tech startup, which is the fintech. Now, for fintechs, the data is also super interesting. And if you follow the news, you realize that the fintech is really driving investment in Africa, the fintech startups. Here is to show you the number of fintechs since 2017 up until 2021. You can see that the number is increasing across Africa. So, and this is reflecting on the investment that we're getting into Africa for technology. So I'll narrow down on fintech for the next 2 slides, just to show you the drive, because I'm trying to emphasize on the drive. Then we'll talk about the responsibilities. So this is a busy slide, and I took it from the 2020 report of the Nigerian FinTech group. There are 2 things I want to show you here. One of them is this data here, this 30%. In the report, this was a survey of all fintech that are currently existing in Nigeria, and they did a survey. And if you look at this number here, they said top 3 challenges, and 30% said it's they're having challenges attracting suitable or qualified talent. 30% of those that were surveyed said they're having challenges attracting suitable and qualified talent. Who is that suitable person? Who is that qualified person? If not an African youth. So there are opportunities, but is the African youth ready to seize that opportunity? From this survey, it suggests that they need to be suitable and qualified. Now, the good news for them is these fintech companies are going to continue being established, because if you look at the last 2 years, about 11% new fintech companies have been established. It means this 11% will need to grow. The African has to fill that gap. Now, this other part of the data that I would like you to pay attention to is Nigerian fintech is suggesting that they can expand across the continent, and they've already done their projections that they could go from Ghana to Kenya to Tanzania and Egypt, which means as they expand across the continent, there will be opportunities for employment. That again will give the African youth an opportunity to be gainfully employed, even if they are not entrepreneurs themselves. So they have a double-edged opportunity where they either start up something that would serve the fintech or the other tech companies, or work for the fintech or the other tech companies. So the African youth has opportunities waiting for them to seize. So again, I'm going to share this other slide again on fintech. And here I want to pay close attention to this number here. When they surveyed the fintechs, 54% of them agree that their businesses are facing acute shortage of digital skills. So for a youth to get employed in a fintech or other tech companies, they need to have digital skills. Now, they didn't say they have to be engineers, they have to be lawyers, they have to be doctors. They said digital skills, which means if you graduate with a degree, it doesn't stop you from acquiring digital skills. Kathleen talked about skill acquisition after getting a graduate degree in one of the breakout sessions that I attended this morning on youth and employment post-pandemic. And I completely agree with her. But the youth that wants to get employed or get opportunities in the tech space needs to acquire digital skills. It doesn't matter what your first degree is or your master's degree or your PhD. If you want to play in this space as either an entrepreneur or an employee, you must have digital skills. And over 50% of respondents, those in fintech, requested for this skill set. So again, the challenge is back to the African youth. So having talked about this, let me now talk about whose responsibility. I've been able to share the drive, what's driving tech on the continent and what possibly can create employment. But whose responsibility? The first thing I do is I'll put that responsibility on the shoulders and the doorstep of the youths. If you want to get employed, you have to get ready. The survey has shown what is required. The survey and the information we have has shown that there are opportunities. So when they say a million people applied for jobs, immigration jobs in Nigeria, showing people in the stadium trying to get just a few spaces, and I asked myself, could they have thought about other opportunities? I don't blame them because that's the information they have. But if only they can explore further, they realize that there are other opportunities that they can explore. So they need digital skills for them to access the jobs of the future, or the jobs of now as well. Data analytics is going to be a big deal if you want to play in the tech space. So the African youth needs to think about this. As you get more into technology, there is going to be a need for security of the data, privacy of the data. So cyber and IT security. That's an emerging field. People are beginning to get trained. Even people that have previously been trained as engineers or as lawyers in Nigeria are beginning to take additional training on cybersecurity, IT support and system maintenance. Most people already know that, so that's not new. Now, the last two are things that I personally consider worthwhile. Self-discipline. You don't want things to be given to you if you are not ready. And people look at what you like to do for yourself before they help you. The African youth should ensure that they're self-disciplined if they want to take advantage of the now and the future. Positive mentality. It can be done. It has been done before. We can do it again. We can even do it better. That's how to go about it. And I've included these 4 images here of the social media handles that most African youths play with. Unknown to them, or some of them may be aware, these are money-making opportunities for the African youths. Is it that you make money as an entrepreneur within this social media space, or you create your own invention that is African-specific or culturally adaptable? TikTok came after Facebook, but TikTok is way ahead of Facebook. TikTok came out of China, and TikTok is just taking advantage of the fact that people don't spend too much time on videos anymore. The attention span is reducing. So how can you send your message over a short period? And that's how TikTok came about. And TikTok is taking over Facebook in terms of viewership of videos. Instagram is a marketplace. So many entrepreneurs are on Instagram. They don't have a shop, they don't have anywhere to go, but they've made money from Instagram. So while you enjoy it as a social media opportunity, explore the business opportunities there are within those social media spaces. You could sell and buy. While you do that, don't forget the founders of these social media companies also make money. So it's a two-way thing. So because it's a digital currency, but African youth should take advantage, not just for pleasure, but for business and for earning an income. It's possible. So on this slide, I've tried to show a few African youths that have taken advantage of technology of the social media space. Everybody knows Mr. Macaroni from Nigeria. As of today, he's the most prolific producer and social media comedian in Nigeria. He's even way ahead of so many Nollywood producers. He produces about 3 videos every week, and those videos are about 3 minutes. And he sends his message easily because he has understood what the audience wants to see. This attention span has reduced. Then his content is he's tailored his content to about 3 minutes, and he does that. The frequency has increased. So he's taking advantage of the digital currency because each time you click on his video, your data is being used. Your what's called your mobile company is being charged, and so it goes around and he gets his own money. So he's taking advantage of the digital currency space. Same for the top YouTuber in Africa, Casper Lee. Casper produces a lot of YouTube videos, and he makes his money from every click on that video. That's an African youth. Yeah, he doesn't have to leave his house to make money. He's taking advantage of the technology that exists. YouTube is there. What YouTube is doing, YouTube is like an hub for content. So all you need to do is to bring your content, then YouTube provides the content to the audience. Your audience clicks on your content. YouTube makes money, and they pay you some of the money they make from there because you use data, and data is money, and that's how it goes. And finally, I really love this guy, Wode Maya. Wode's message is to tell the African story as an African youth by an African. And he's a travel blogger. But in the process of doing that, Wode gets a lot of content across going to different African entrepreneurs and different African countries, and he puts it on his YouTube, generates a lot of traffic, makes money as you watch each of his YouTube videos. He's also taking advantage of the digital currency. So these are African youths that have taken advantage of the opportunities. I don't need to talk too much about Jumia. Everybody knows Jumia. Jumia is one of the 4 unicorns out of Africa, which means it is valued at over $1 billion. Jumia is not over 10 years old. Jumia is just like an African Amazon. It started by an African. If this is possible, and Jumia has employed a lot of African youth, and you can have several other Jumia startup on the continent. Africa has a lot of youth that would like to buy stuff online because that's the new avenue to buy stuff. So that's an opportunity. And last slide, the Track Hub, is what I generated seed money for. Was founded by a young doctor from Nigeria. He lives in Abuja, and he came up with this idea to run a logistics and also do something like Uber, like the Uber Eats, as well as run the logistic of delivering stuff on time. And he priced his business as meeting up with time and expectations of the client. But he didn't have money to start up. He approached me, and I put a few of my friends together, and we raised the seed money for him. And the business is growing. And his goal is to sell this off to a bigger logistic company and move on to his next idea. That's an African youth. So it is not impossible. So the responsibility is of the African youth to take advantage of existing technology and technology of the future. Whether you become an entrepreneur within an existing technology or you come up with your own original idea. But the caveat is you don't have to be a software engineer for you to take advantage of the technological space. So as the drive moves on in tech and other areas, the African youth actually has a place. So the responsibility for me is on the African youth. Now, the second responsibility is on government. Note, I have not talked about the private sector. And the reason why I'm not going to talk about the private sector is that all the companies I've showed to you, the fintech and all that, these are all private sector driven. None of them is from the government. The Jumia's, the Flutterware, the Paystack and all that, these are all private sector. So they've already taken their own responsibility. So I'm not going to talk about them. Here, I'm going to talk about governments. Government is extremely responsible, and failure of government is going to kill the drive for entrepreneurship, for technology, and for the African youth to be able to achieve their full potential. And this figure here, I really love this figure a lot. This figure has all the fundamental areas government needs to act on, as well as the policies that are even existing. We already have policies to match this. Just that the African government has refused to trigger and to implement most of this. So we don't lack content, we don't lack information, we really lack implementation. The African government is way behind the African youth and the private sector, and that shouldn't be the case. The government should be ahead, creating the environment for all these to thrive. Unfortunately, they are behind. So I'll just take a little bit of each one of these. So, for example, the digital single markets. While there could be regulations to help growth, there's already existing regulation that allows free trade across Africa, the AfTA, which is lovely because I don't need to get licensed in every country as an African that has a business that is playing in the digital space. So the information is there, but is there a bite? Is there a movement towards implementation and supporting existing digital businesses? I'm not sure. There's even a strategy, a 10-year strategy to do this, but it has not been fully implemented. And this is the responsibility of governments. The digital rights. Unfortunately, the African countries and African government, they're impinging on the rights of individuals, whether freedom or the internet rights. Needless for me to say that governments in different countries in Africa have tried to limit access to the internet. There are so many countries in West Africa, East Africa, name it, because they see this as a way of limiting the populace from protesting about some economical issues. But that also limits business opportunities when you do that. So you have to weigh and balance it. So there are laws to allow for freedom, but the government is working against this law. The law they created for the people by themselves, they are working against those laws. So digital rights is being impinged upon and will not help the African youth and opportunities. Digital taxes. There is a lot of money to be made. government can make so much money from taxing the existing software startups or social media startups, but they need to be creative. Even America is struggling to tax these companies. Dublin has found a way. African countries need to find a way. There's so much to be made from taxing these companies as they start up, which is good. So there are three different opportunities. One, you could start tax the company itself. If they're able to employ people, you could also give them some breaks because those people are going to pay taxes. If they provide services, the users of the services could also provide some, pay some taxes. So there are opportunities, just that you need to balance them so that you don't discourage creativity. So the opportunities are there. I'm not going to go into details about data privacy, but it's the responsibility of government to provide laws that help to protect intellectual property. It's unfortunate that if you look through so many of the higher institutions in Africa, some of them don't have intellectual property to support and protect even academic IPs, let alone in the public. So it's a big challenge. Even though the AU has come up with a declaration since 2017, it has not been implemented to the fullest. Cyber security, Africa is not the only continent that is going to be exposed to cyber threats, but we need to be proactive. Other countries, even the US, is still facing cyber crimes, but that doesn't mean we should keep our guards down. It's extremely important and it's the responsibility of government. And finally, fintech regulation. I don't know if most of us have been following the news. There's a new act that is going to be passed soon and that's been deliberated upon. That act will kill fintech in Nigeria and African countries if care is not taken. I know the government is not too happy with cryptocurrency and the others, but you don't throw the baby with the bathwater. There's so much. How about regulating to ensure that these fintech companies, they strive while you pay attention to their workings and their daily dealings? So I am not completely in favor of the NITDA Act from Nigerian government and several African governments bringing up fintech regulations. We need to pay attention to this because as you want to regulate, you might kill innovation. So there should be a balance. And just to close on this, startups and innovations. The good news is that Africa has witnessed 50% growth in health tech innovations since 2017. And since last year, so many African inventors have come up with beautiful innovations that could become very good products in the health tech space. And these are aftermath of the COVID pandemic. So many innovators came out of Africa and they've done so much. And we hope government will help them to take this product to the market. The agri-tech space has also seen tremendous improvement. I play in that space. I can tell you that every day something new comes in the agro space, and that has witnessed 110% growth. Unfortunately, the last 6 items, I'm not going to go into details because it is like preaching to the choir. We know the problem with power. It's becoming a perennial problem and becoming an embarrassment for most African countries. How can you support technology if there is no power? Internet is improving, but not in every African country. Nigeria is doing well in terms of the internet and the availability. South Africa is doing great. Kenya is doing great. So many African countries have stepped up, but there are so many other countries that are way, way behind. Capital is still very important. As our youths come up with their own ideas, they need to be supported. In advanced countries, in Western countries, they give seed money for an idea. Even if the idea might fail tomorrow, they still encourage that youth. Are the African governments ready to do that? How do you run a logistic business without proper infrastructure, road infrastructure and all that? So the infrastructure is still a big problem in most African countries. Kathleen talked about COVID pandemic this morning. I could not agree less with what she said, and I'm not going to dwell on that. We all know that COVID has hit so many countries and so many countries are struggling. and is worse off in Africa. I talked about COVID pandemic last year, the opportunities there are and the challenges for African youth. It still exists till tomorrow if we don't do something about it. Unfortunately, while agro and health and fintech are beginning to have good and strong headway in Africa, you cannot say the same thing for technology in the education space. It is way, way behind. And we need to address this as Africans, and the African youth need to take advantage of developing the education tech space in Africa. So I would like to summarize with 2 slides. One is to show you the power of technologically driven economy. Zoom took advantage of the pandemic and has provided the platform that we're actually having this meeting and several other meetings people have all over the world. The capital base of Zoom as of this year, 2021, is more than all the airlines put together. So that means I can sit here and have my meeting. I don't need to fly to Cape Town, and Zoom is making money by providing me with the platform. Zoom has solved the problem with using technology, and that has knocked off all the airlines put together. So that tells us that there's so much money that can be made in the technological space, and there are opportunities for the African youth, whether as employees or as entrepreneurs. And the final summary is that there's good news coming out of Africa. OPay, I don't know if many of us know this, most Nigerians know OPay. OPay is the most capitalized financial institution in Nigeria. OPay by itself can engulf the whole of First Bank, Union Bank, and a few other banks put together, and is valued at $2 billion US. This is a startup that came about less than 10 years ago. So the good news for the African youth, this was started by African youths as well, using technology as the base. So the good news is there are 4 unicorns in Africa right now. Unicorn means companies that have over 1 billion valuation. And 3 of them are in Nigeria, and they're spreading across Africa, and 1 of them is in Egypt. So it is not all doom and gloom in Africa. The opportunities are abound. Fintech is leading the way, but there are other opportunities for technology, and the African youth can take advantage of this as either employees or entrepreneurs. So I'll leave that, and I'll again say thank you to Professor Azeez for this opportunity, and thanks for listening. I'll be happy to take questions.
I would say that, Prof. Okay. I would say, Prof, this is amazing. Can we put hands together once again for Professor Butali? Thank you very much, Professor Butali. This is great. If you're seeing the screen, this the people, you know, the transmitting unit in Lagos, and we have South Africa too. Technical person, if you can show Prof that for him to see that we have people too in South Africa, boldly like this. Thank you very much, Prof. So we take maybe 2 questions, because we want to see how we manage our plenary sessions. This plenary session for us to move to the parallel session very quickly. So we'll take one from, I'll say one from South Africa and one from here. Okay, 3 questions. One from the guys online, one from here, one from South Africa. So who goes? Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. So can you quickly come? Let's take you. Let's take you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the presentation. My name is Bola Malomo. I'm a lecturer at the Department of Psychology, University of Lagos. I'm so happy I listened to you, because I'm very close to these students, and there's a problem really. I don't have the statistics, but some of the students don't even have access to the internet. That's a problem. I don't need to, overflog it. We all know that. But the problem is, the in thing now is that virtual, you talked about, what's the term now? Well, yes, digital, innovation and, and all that. Now, is there any way we can help these students from the private sector now? Because I don't want to go to the government. We also have some of these youths who are in the rural areas, intelligent youth. How do we get access to them? Is there any way, because I don't know you that much, but I know probably you can think of a solution. There has to be a program where the youth in the rural areas, will be targeted. That program should target them, because we have information on the WhatsApp of what the youths in the rural areas are doing, the innovation they are coming up with. Is there any way you can get to them? Please, maybe you can use your position, or you can use your, you have access to, all of these tech, companies. Is there any way you can help? Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take all the questions so that we take, you can answer them once and for all. Can we get the house in Cape Town? Can you get them, please? Are they on? They are not on. Okay, then we take the second one from here. Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor Butali. That was an insightful session. So my question, with 83 million Nigerians being living in poverty and an estimated 90 million to be in poverty in 2022, my question is, wouldn't it be better to leverage on development as a means of growing an economy that promotes willingness to pay tax, rather than saying tax is the new oil, as found, as we now see in literature and reality? Thank you, sir.
Okay, Prof, can you attend to those two questions? Unmute yourself and do. Unmute yourself, Prof. Okay, can you unmute him, please?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah, I just did. So thank you very much. Thanks to Dr. Malomo for your question. How can we assist youths in rural areas that have great innovations but no support, and also youths that are enthusiastic but no access to internet? I think the first thing in any process is identification. If we get those youths, then just like the hubs are doing, most people can even walk to the hub, or we can even aggregate them and then give those kids access to the hubs. That's one way. There's a little girl in Makoko that her mom sells fish, and she had to go to the hub, and they taught her how her mom can sell fish online. So that's one of the powers of having those hubs. And the universities, not just UNILAG, but most universities are within communities. Can the university create a space, just like what you have in UNILAG, for these kids to come with their ideas? There's no stupid idea, they just need to be refined. Then people like myself and others can then come with seed money. Sometimes this money, we know that the ideas might not even fly, but to encourage that kid to be innovative. So it is possible. It is possible. So what we need to do is, anytime we identify any youth anywhere in Nigeria or Africa, get them access to a place like the co-creation spaces. Then we'll take it from there. So let's start aggregating. We can even create a database, the kid, phone numbers and all that. Then we'll keep going until we're able to help them. So that's one way to do that. Now, the second question was, tax is the new oil. That's a misnomer. Tax will never be oil. Data is the new oil. The Nigerian government is getting it wrong. When you focus on getting money from tax, or the African government getting money from tax, they're getting it wrong. You get money from allowing a lot of people to be able to provide goods and services. Then you make your money from the taxes from those goods and services. I just showed you what people can do from just digital currency, getting on social media, creating logistic website and all that. Then once you do that and those people are creating value, money then follows value, and you tax those people either providing the value or accessing the value. So the government is getting it wrong. It's unfortunate, and they don't listen. When you have a place like the co-creation space in Lagos, why would the Nigerian government be thinking backwards? Or you have a place in Unilag. So tax is never going to be the new oil, because you're going to tax just a few people. The informal sector is still going to be making their money. So why don't you work on creating opportunities so that the informal sector gets accounted for, and then increase your tax base? I don't know the way they're doing it, but they're just focusing on what they know. What they don't know is more than what they know. There are 1,000,001 people making money from the digital currency. Every click on your YouTube is money. Every time you send a message on WhatsApp is money. So they just, I don't know, but let's just leave government. But I think we should focus on creating value and access to the youth, and to tell the youth that you have unlimited access to making money. And you don't have to be a coder. You don't have to be a software engineer. You just have to have an idea, solve a problem, and then you make money from there. I hope I've answered your question, but that's the way I say it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof. You've actually answered the question, and for sure, this is beautiful. This is great. And I know that African youths online listening to us have been gingered. And I thank you very particularly, making references to the fact that there are a lot of opportunities in Africa, and there are a lot of things that the youth can do. And as the topic, goes, whose responsibility, I could see that Prof has placed the responsibility on the doorsteps of the youth themselves, yes, the government, the private sector, and letting us to understand that the youth can do a lot, irrespective of whether the government is supporting or not. It will be very good for the government to support, but then we will not wait for the government of Africa to create the beautiful opportunity before we create some, because it's all about us. If the entirety of Africa population comprises of 60% youth, then we, the youth, we must do something ourselves. I want to thank you so much, Prof. The aggressive, innovative technological drive capable of redefining youth employment in Africa, whose responsibility. You've done a great justice to this. We're proud of you. And we do hope that when we call you next time, we'll always have you to be with us. Thank you very much, Prof. Cape Town, from Cape Town, they said no, that you were happy. Everything you said was very simple and well understood. So no question from Cape Town. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Can we put hands together?
Yeah, in Cape Town, we're just trying to find out from Prof what we could do to increase the number of unicorn enterprises in Africa.
A question is coming from there now. All right, Prof. Okay, that's fine. I hope you had him.
Yeah.
Yes, Prof.
So what do we do to increase the number of unicorn enterprises in Africa? Create an enabling space. Do not allow laws like the NITDA to fly. The NITDA is a financial regulation act that is going to be passed in places like Nigeria, places like Ghana, places like Zimbabwe. If you look at the 4 unicorns from Africa, 3 of them are fintech. So if you allow that act to pass, you may not even get a fintech company to get to unicorn level. Government should please allow people to grow. You can regulate, but allow people to grow. There are so many others that are at the verge of being unicorn, but you need government to give them the space. So that's the only way we can get more unicorns in Africa. And I can tell you, between now and 2022, we'll get at least 2 more. Keep an eye on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. And I think the government is hearing. We will push from our communique that the government must allow us to grow as many unicorns as possible by allowing, the tech startups to grow. And I cannot, agree less with you. Thank you very much, Prof. Can we put our hands together for Professor Butali? We appreciate you so much. So we move straight away now. I think I need Dr. Shitu. Can you come and tell us what we need to do now? We are moving into the parallel session. I know the second parallel session is track F, entrepreneurship areas, track G, family business and gender entrepreneurship in Africa, track H, informal and social entrepreneurship, I get. So you should come and let us know what we need to do and which room we need to be. And please, for people online, what we are going to do immediately, I know some of us online, you are not part of the presenter, but you want to be in those rooms. So immediately, Dr. Shitu announces the room, we're going to put on the screen for you in the house, the links of the various rooms. So you can now click any of those links so for you to join the room of your choice. So please do take notice of that so that we do not have the miss we had after the first plenary session in the morning. Thank you, Dr. Shitu.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. For the plenary session, it is important we all note that we are 21 minutes behind schedule. So we have barely just 25 minutes more. So we have 3 rooms, USD, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes, okay? So we have 3 rooms for track C, USD room, track G and H, UKRI room, track D, that is the Arua room. So track C is for those who are under agropreneurship. Track G and H, we are a combination of 2 tracks, which covers family business, gender entrepreneurship, as well as informal and social entrepreneurship. And the last track is track D, which covers innovation and technopreneurship. So it's important we all proceed to the various rooms now. And let's bear in mind that we have just only 1 hour, 30 minutes, after which we all return to this room again for the second plenary session. Thank you.